Wait, since I always interrupt you, you can intro this time.
No.
Fine. Welcome back to the Fantasy Hockey Podcast, Week 1 preview. It's finally here. In case you didn't know, we get, 116 days of hockey uninterrupted. Unless, of course, COVID goes through the league and they need to delay things. So there is a possibility for it to be interrupted. But if everything goes according to schedule, which hopefully it does, it will be 116
Certainly hasn't
days
yet, but
uninterrupted.
Sure.
We did have some postponements already. I don't expect that many, I think. It seems like the teams are mostly taking care of themselves and quarantining as best they can. So I'm hoping that everything just goes smoothly. Anyways, so the preseason was pretty wild. This is the official start for us of our in-season content, which you get 3 episodes a week minimum. We're doing week previews, Unsustainable Wednesdays, and whatever Friday ends up being. We're still working through. It might still be the weekend preview from last year. It might just be a quick streaming episode. We'll figure it out. It'll be something. And there'll also be some hot hands, bus watches, things like that. But the preseason was nuts. So we did want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in, used us.
I kind of forgot about Bust Watch.
I did too. Bust Watch was fun. I mean, it was
so funny. Bust Watch was so funny.
It was so funny. And we always got roasted for putting someone on Bust Watch because we put like John Klingberg on Bust Watch and people would get furious. And we'd lay it out. The whole episode would lay out how John Klingberg is a bust in fantasy, and yet we'd still get roasted. It didn't matter because obviously people didn't watch it. They just saw the word Bust Watch. And we had the picture that the thumbnail was someone behind like a jail cell. Oh, one player one day is not going to be thrilled about that. Anyways, thank you to everyone who tuned in to our preseason content. We did 17 videos or episodes for the preseason and 4 live streams in the span of 28 days. We normally do that in our normal preseason year in about 45 to 50 days. And so it's really, really insane that we were able to get all that done, but also just how many people showed up to listen and how much you people consumed it. I mean, we got to 3,000 Twitter followers, 4,000 YouTube subscribers. At some point, I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe it was 2 weeks into our preseason content, we were close to 3,000 YouTube subscribers. And I messaged Brandon and I said, hey, like maybe we'll be able to get to 3,000 subscribers by season start. And we were just blown away by the fact that we actually hit 4,000, like completely surpassed our expectations.
Very happy.
Very happy.
Maybe happier.
Very happy, boys.
I mean, that's part of the reason why we did as much as we did as well. Like the original plan was basically to live stream a draft, maybe a mock draft here or there. But so many of you came to show support, and it was a lot of fun, obviously.
It was
like,
so much
we
fun.
We really enjoyed doing them. So I mean, we just kept doing them. I mean, there was no downside to us. We're going to draft anyway, and you guys seem to like to see our, questionable strategies.
Well, your strategy, since you never listened to me on the live stream, but it's okay. I interrupt you on the podcast. You don't listen to me in draft. I think we're even.
I mean, I waited for you to not be on the draft so that I could draft Kubalik finally in one of the drafts.
God, you and your Kubalik love. So, at least Theodore makes sense. Kubalik to me makes no sense. So, anyways. So let's jump into the week preview. Now, normally we'd go over long-term targets, we give you your drop candidates, and also kind of review what happened in the prior week, but we're not going to do that this week because, well, there's nobody to drop, and we kind of covered long-term targets slightly in the waiver wire episode that came out yesterday. So we're going to jump right into the week preview where we talk about the schedule. So for those of you that are new, we talk about the schedule and go over who has good schedules, who has bad schedules, and what teams to target on those, given those schedules. So teams with 4 or more games.
Wait. There is one section that we typically do before the week preview that we have. I've created the injury report.
Oh yes, the injury report. Duh.
Weekly, you will get an injury report from me, which is questionable because I'm getting it from 4 different sources, and I really don't know what's happening. But what I have so far, and there's so many that are on here that are basically I didn't bother to mark them down, but they're basically unfit to play, generic. We don't really know. So I basically left all those people off because it can mean anything. But I'm going to start with some. Go ahead.
Is your anecdotal commentary coming back too? Because I loved that last year.
Oh, I forgot. Remind me what I was doing. I vaguely
I don't even remember. You
just being very rude to people.
Yeah, pretty much. I think.
Yeah, I don't know that there's anybody on this. I'm a little.
But there is. You had Bob. Oh, let's just do the injury report. I'm gonna be sad after, but
I don't have very many people on here actually.
Okay.
David Pastrnak's the first one. He's on here mostly because I feel like people don't really know his timeline. He's recovering from a hip surgery. He was slated for mid-February. Now it's looking more like early February. So if you drafted him in the 3rd round or somehow you got him in the 4th, you are doing very well, to say the least. Next up, Jonathan Toews. We have no idea what's going on, honestly. He's out indefinitely. I have a feeling that indefinitely means longer than shorter, but we just don't know. Still staying on the... Yeah, it doesn't. Still staying on the Chicago Blackhawks, we have Kirby Dach, who destroyed his wrist. Just take my word for it. And he's not going to be back this season. Yeah. So if you were high on him or you have a dynasty league and you were looking forward to Dach having some upside this season, I'm sorry. Next up, we've got Ben Bishop and Tyler Seguin, both on the Dallas Stars, both with similar timelines. Bishop with a knee injury, Seguin with a hip injury, April-ish. They're basically, I hope you're still alive and get him for playoffs, the end of playoffs potentially. Bishop, I mean, given his history, I kind of think may not even become available for fantasy leagues because, you know, if his window is late April, then you kind of have to assume that there's no reason to rush him back if he's close but not quite there. So it makes sense that he may just show up for playoffs when they need him. But I do have Sergei Bobrovsky on here. I lied. Who knows? I mean, he was probably flutter kicking on a boat again and like pulled a hamstring or something. But he has an undisclosed. He has done that. He has a history of flutter kicks on boats, and I'm just assuming that's what happened.
I love those flutter kicks.
He has an undisclosed injury, but all we know so far is that he will be missing game action, whatever that means. At least a game or two, considering the first 2 games of Florida's season are postponed already. It's probably not a good sign, but we really don't know too much. Next up, Sami Vatanen. I feel like some people will have a little bit of interest in him because he's going back to a team where he did play top power play and had some fantasy relevance. A team that had PK Subban and Subban lost the top power play slot to Vatanen. I don't, with the changes in Jersey, I don't really think that's going to happen again, but it's plausible. Anyway, he's got visa issues, so we don't really know when he's going to be ready, but I'm not holding my breath on him anyway. Vladimir Tarasenko is the next one. Shoulder stuff. It's Tarasenko. Yeah, he's going to be reevaluated in February sometime. I imagine he plays during the season. Roto World calls him out indefinitely. I think we see him in March. Would be my guess. And then Nikita Kucherov, of course, hip injury, done for the season. Let's all put our tinfoil hats on and accuse Tampa Bay of cap circumvention, which, I mean, but anyway, that's the end of the injury report.
You can't just introduce a tinfoil hat conspiracy and then just be like,
now everybody's thinking about it. Like, wait, did they? I don't know.
I wasn't thinking about it. Now I am. So thank you for that.
That's what we do here.
Probably a lot of other people are thinking about it too now.
I also have wine. It's a wine.
It's a wine episode.
Wine
tonight.
Wednesday.
It's a wine Wednesday. There you go. We can make that. Wait, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, but this will air on Wednesday.
Okay, so fine. Wine Wednesday. Fair enough, man. I'm excited to see how you draft tonight because we have our last listener league. Brandon has a wine.
I will be fine. This is half a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with how well I'm going to draft here.
You put out a tinfoil conspiracy out there. Half a glass of wine is clearly doing something. Okay, so now we move into the week
believe
preview.
it. Every Leaf fan believes that.
What?
Somebody's got to be doing cap circumvention, right?
I mean, yeah, the Leafs also got in trouble for the whole practicing with refs thing, and then the Vancouver Canucks did it. And they didn't do anything to the Canucks. The Leafs have a lot of conspiracy theories, but they don't have a cup, so does it matter?
Why would you do that though? I didn't go that far.
I'm just pushing the buttons just a little bit. It's okay. I pissed off Vancouver fans. Now it's Toronto. I've killed Bob.
You're just looking like the borders closed or whatever.
Oh, I know. Otherwise, there'd be Toronto fans flooding into New York City right now. Anyways, so
I think moving on to the border. Honestly, I assume we're just all isolated in America at this point. Nobody wants us anywhere.
No, I wouldn't want us either. I wouldn't want me.
Probably should be indefinite, but
probably honestly. Okay, the week we need to get some stuff. back in order before we should be allowed to actually leave our borders. So for the week preview, let's talk about the schedule. Teams with 4 more games, there's none. No one has 4 more games. It's also a shortened week. So it does it. And by the way, I should mention that we're going to do another episode on the weekend. That's for the next part of this week 1. So it'll be like a week 1.5 episode where we go over it next week specifically for short-term pickups and for the whole scheduling situation. So this is just for this week through Sunday, just for clarity. Teams with 1 or less games. Wait. Oh, I know why I put less, because Dallas exists and they don't have any games this week. That's why. I was like, wait, how can you have less than 1 game? So Florida has 1, Winnipeg has 1, and Dallas has none this week. So you definitely want to avoid those guys. Although it's tough because you want to go grab a guy like Duclair and Ekblad. I mean, I don't know why Ekblad would be available in your league, but whatever. Duclair more than anything. And you want to go grab a guy like Duclair, and it's kind of tough because he doesn't have games early on. I still did it anyways, but just know that if you're streaming from Florida, they have 1 game. Same with Winnipeg. There's some interesting options there, but they only have 1 game. Winnipeg does have a great schedule next week. So if you want to take advantage of that, something to look forward to. Teams that have 2 or more off nights. There's some really heavy days this week, so this is going to matter. Pittsburgh has 3 off nights. Chicago has 3 off nights. Washington, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Colorado have 2 off nights. So those are important pieces of information to take with you. And off nights are defined as, we had someone ask what an off night is, so I think I should explain that here really quickly. It's just a night where less than half.
Differ from place to place.
Yes, so different places define differently.
I think there is the biggest subset, and I'll actually make a shout out to GAR here. He hangs out in my Discord. He's actually my cousin. He wrote a schedule tool, sort of for us, but really it's his, that basically defines off nights the way we define off nights, which is half the league, at least half the league are not playing. So if more than 16 teams are playing, or 16 or more perhaps are playing, that's considered an on night or a heavy game night. 8 games going on essentially, or rather, no, 16 games going on.
Yeah.
If less than that are going on, then it's 8. Wait, what? Anyway,
you are it's only half a glass of wine. It's not going to do anything to me.
This is just math. This is bad math. But anyway, if less than half the league are playing, it's considered an off night, and those obviously are better for streaming because you don't have to worry about benching a player. I think a lot of places define an off night as just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Sunday, which are the typical off nights. But there's an important distinction, as there are some weeks, especially in a condensed schedule like this, where they don't fall. In fact, this coming Monday is clearly not an off night, but a lot of people would describe it as such because it's Monday. Anyway, long-winded explanation, but basically the way we describe an off night is less than half the teams are playing.
Yeah. If you want to get to that tool, by the way, there's some Renee, his cousin here, ZeroGar, has built some amazing tools, and we feature them on our site. They're free. So if you go to fantasyhockeypodcast.com/tools, you'll see links there to the schedule optimizer. You can optimize your schedule. You can see all the off nights. You can see it going forward. It's really, really awesome. And his scheduler actually, one of the reasons I use it more than anywhere else, actually, it's the only place I use now, is because he takes into account this score system. And so he looks at not just do they have off nights, but do they have off nights? And let's say they're tired versus rested, or they are rested versus a tired opponent. That gives them an extra little bump because that game is much easier for them. So it's really, really useful. So definitely go to fantasyhockeypodcast.com/tools and check that stuff out. I'll also link it if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll link it below. If you are watching this never mind. If you are listening to it, just go to the site. Wow, what a start to the season for us. Yeah. Can you tell it's been a long preseason? We're a little
we got one draft left too. We're not done yet.
I know it is wild. Okay, so I'll start off with my first short-term target here. This is a Bangos option, and that's gonna be from Pittsburgh, left wing, right wing, Brandon Tanev, 25% owned on Yahoo. Solely a hits option
in the league.
Yep, and he's got the best picture in the league. I mean, that picture is team name material. Ghost of Tanev's past or something. I don't know, but it's pretty fantastic.
My first one is, it's exciting to have this as a first one, actually, because of Chicago being the rare 3 off night team. is Dylan Strome, sitting at 40% owned, center left wing. There's kind of not much to say about him anymore that isn't already known. He's, the de facto number one center now, which is crazy, but that's what it is. So he's going to be not only centering Patrick Kane with DeBrincat on his left, but also centering the top power play. He's a good option in a lot of leagues. I still, despite all of the opportunities to be given here, I don't really expect a lot in terms of peripherals, including shots, but it's a good opportunity for him. And that left wing eligibility is nice, especially if you have face-off wins.
Yeah, I agree. My next one here is from Pittsburgh, John Marino, defenseman, 18%. Honestly, I'm not super high on him. It's mostly just an off nights play. If you really need it, I mean, I wouldn't be dropping anyone crazy for John Marino, just because John Marino, I think, his upside is so capped. His ceiling is so capped. And so I like him as, if you're looking for defensemen, there's some good defenseman options out there this week. And John Marino is one of those guys, too, that if you're in a really deep league, he could pay off later down the line if for whatever reason he happens to surprise and take over from Chris Letang. But just a guy I thought I'd mention.
Yeah. My next one is Kevin Hayes on Philly.
Yeah, had him too.
So, yeah, he's got 2 off nights to start with. The problem is this coming Sunday, there's really not a lot going on because of the postponed game. So you really only have 2 games to go with. So you may not be able to really swap him out for anybody. But regardless, I actually think he might turn into a long-term hold because he's got Claude Giroux on his left wing, and he's playing power play 1. He's in a pretty good position to have a good season this season. I don't know how long he gets Giroux on his wing, but the longer he has him, the better.
Yeah, I also like Farabee on his wing too. I like both of those. Mm-hmm. It seems like a scoring line. So
yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Couturier, I could see. Well, Couturier's got connecting on his left, but I don't really know. I mean, no slight to Lindblom, but I don't really know what to expect from him at this point. So I think that second line might be stronger than the first. But
that's what I was thinking too. I think it'll be a pretty balanced 1-2 though. Yeah. I think you could go balanced 1-2. I mean, you could go balanced.
I mean,
yeah.
I know there was a lot of hype going into the playoffs, and they got smoked by a really staunch Islanders defense. But I think the Flyers are going to be fun to watch, and a good team this season. As much as I hate to say it, God, I hate the Flyers. Anyway,
God, I know, but they're good. I gotta say, they are very deep. I've got 2. I'm gonna go with 2 here because I've got 2 defensemen on Chicago who has a good schedule, and Connor Murphy is the first one, defenseman, 4% owned. All the Bengals. I mean, if you need blocks, especially, this guy gets you blocks and hits. He's just a really good all-around option, and with 3 off nights, I mean, he is a perfect, 5th defenseman if you go with 4 defensemen. Good util spot. If that's what you need against your opponent this week. It'll give you a huge leg up as well going into next week if you can secure a lot of banger stats from Connor Murphy this week, and then it might give you some flexibility next week to go after points and really react to what's going on, but already have banger stats kind of locked down.
Are we allowed to pull basketball terms over? Because I feel like one thing I find myself thinking when I think about multi-cat monsters, really, but defensemen in general, is Connor Murphy has the rare triple-triple. He can do 100+ shots, 100+ hits, and 100+ blocks.
Yeah.
There's not very many players in the league that do that on a 82-game season anyway. Yeah. There's like Darnell Nurse, who's, he's basically a home name in most leagues at this point if you're doing bangers. And there's like a handful of other ones. Like Jake Muzzin, I feel like is usually drafted way, way above Connor Murphy. And Connor Murphy does everything that Jake Muzzin does. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Let's just leave that over with basketball. But did you cover Adam Boquist? I'm assuming that was your next one.
Oh, I was on mute. Oops. I was gonna say I'll let the people decide what what they think about triple. Adam Boquist was my other one, 9% owned. Yeah. Wicked hard schedule if what you're going for is point. Because the reason you're picking up Adam Boquist is that upside in points, right? Because he's top power play right now. But he's playing Tampa twice. So I don't really know what there is there for him, points-wise upside. I picked him up in my keeper league. I actually dropped Duncan. Maybe I dropped Murphy for him, just because it's a keeper league. If he can probably have some trade value later if he actually holds on to that top power play spot. I'm not really high on his true points upside, but I can definitely see other people be very excited about Adam Boquist increasing trade value or whatever. So I do like Boquist. I'm hesitant on him though. I'm not 100% sure what to expect yet, I think.
Yeah. My next one here is Robert Thomas over in St. Louis.
Had him too.
He's another guy that has 2 off nights in the beginning, both against Colorado, which isn't a great matchup or anything, but center right wing, 18%. He's got Jaden Schwartz on his wing. He's going to try to break out this season. There's a lot of expected of him. He's already 18% owned, which is the highest I think he's ever been owned in at least on Yahoo. So there's definitely some upside there. It's hard to tell how much. He's also got Hoffman. Like, let's not forget that he's got a good shooter on his right wing now too. That second line is really not bad. It would be nice to see him get top power play. I honestly don't see any way he possibly breaks into it, but you look at that top power play, and it's Braden Shen, it's Ryan O'Reilly, it's David Perron, it's Torrey Krug, it's Mike Hoffman. Who do you possibly move off that line? And if you do, it's not Robert Thomas coming in. I'm sorry. They don't need another center draw guy. They've already got the best in the league just about with Ryan O'Reilly. And the other player that go in, even if somebody got hurt, would be Jaden Schwartz. So unfortunately for Robert Thomas, there's no real path there. But you have the 2 off nights, especially, you can start strong with him on Monday, or rather Wednesday and Friday. And then if he doesn't perform, easy swap. And he's got that right wing eligibility in case you do need face-off wins or something from a winger.
Yeah, I do like him. He was one of my top guys this week. I think with that, at least especially on 5-on-5, I think he's got a lot of opportunity playing with Hoffman. Okay, it's time for me to make up with the Toronto fans here. Okay, Joe Thornton. Big old Jumbo Joe. Yeah, he's on here for short-term targets. Toronto's a pretty good schedule. They score a lot of goals. And there's one thing going for Joe Thornton that's really good at 24% owned. Top line, top power play. You can't ignore it. I can't ignore it. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know how long it'll last. But for now, I like it. And I'm not rushing to grab him. He's a pure center, which makes it really hard. But he's certainly someone to pay attention to. And I've seen a lot of laughing at people asking. Like, people will ask, oh, should I pick up Jumbo Joe? And everyone laughs. And it's like, no, you shouldn't be grabbing Jumbo Joe. But the truth is, you actually probably should. If you're like in a position where you have the room and you're really thinking about it, like, it's not a terrible move, honestly. Top line, top power play in Toronto, pretty good.
There's also something to be said about, we're talking about the beginning of the schedule. Looking through the history of Austin Matthews right now, the worst he's ever done in a game 1 of a season is get 2 goals.
Wow.
It's just so. Of his 4 seasons, the first time was the, kind of world famous at this point 4-goal game.
Yep.
Next season, he got a goal and 2 assists. 2018, we're looking at now, 2 goals. 2019, 2 goals.
So that means that this year he's going to get 1 goal. 4, 3, 2, 2, 1.
No, he got 4. For points.
Yeah.
2 again. I agree with you. I think that I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on this sort of like what to expect from like a mentality point of view, but I do think Austin Matthews comes to play when it comes to game 1s, and he comes out strong at the beginning of the season, as we've seen time and time again from him. So anybody near him is good news, at least for the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
It's one of the rare times that I really wouldn't want to touch nice things. But
you used it.
I did. Don't talk about it.
Brandon used the touch. Okay, I'm gonna
move on.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. It happened. I'm gonna appreciate it.
My final short-term target is also on the Leafs.
What? Oh God! If you say Jimmy Vesey, I swear.
No. I'm not insane. Come on. My last one is actually quite possibly insane as well, and that is TJ Brody at 18% on defense. The reason he's on this list is kind of, I think, similar to why Thornton is here. We didn't expect Thornton to have good power play exposure, but what they're doing is splitting the power plays right now. I hate it. And if you are an Austin Matthews owner, if you're a Morgan Riley owner, if you're a Mitch Marner owner, if you're a John Tavares owner, if you're a William Nylander owner, this is bad news for all of those. Nylander maybe less so because you can get him later than any of the other players, but For the rest of them, I mean, you want them stacked up on a really ridiculous top power play. But if they're not going to do that, the upside is these fringe players like Joe Thornton, even Wayne Simmons, weirdly enough, in a bangers league, if he's going to be playing power play one with Austin Matthews, butt goals and punches, it's good enough.
Butt goals and punches. It's the Wayne Simmons way.
Right. Well, TJ Brodie is quarterbacking the second power play unit. He saw some success in Calgary. He's a very boring player if he's not getting you points, but I think in points leagues or in leagues that have defenseman points, things like that, he's got a bit of value as long as they're splitting this power play. I wouldn't give him the longest leash in the world, but I was holding Mikko Lehtinen. You can kind of guess how deep that league was. 300 players drafted in it. In that league, I swapped Lehtinen because his contract was terminated for TJ Brodie, who's replacing him on that second power play unit. I do think there's some upside there, but again, you have to know what you're getting with TJ Brodie, and it's not much besides points. So
extremely short leash
if you're going to do that.
If you do pick him up.
Yeah.
Extremely short leash. And my last one here, and I think that would be the show, is Andre Burakovsky, 57% owned. High, I know, left wing, right wing. But just I wanted to mention, if he's still out there and you're in a semi-deep league where you're looking for someone to start for some off nights, Burakovsky is one of my favorite ones. Top line. It sucks that he's not on the top power play anymore, and for that reason, I have a really short leash with him. But being on the top line does matter, and it should lead to some points in theory. So I definitely am excited to have him, but I am giving him a pretty short leash going forward.
I actually put the wrong ownership on TJ Brodie. He is 7% owned on Yahoo. He's 18% on Fantrax, but Fantrax doesn't count because all the leagues are super deep and crazy.
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot more sense to me. I was going to say 18% feels a little bit high.
It does. So the word's not out yet. If you really do need, a point-getting defenseman early on with a relatively easy schedule, Montreal and then Ottawa twice, he's an option.
Well, congrats. We have officially kept an episode below an hour for the first time in a month. Well, actually, the waiver wire episode, I think, was shorter. But still,
yeah,
our episodes have been long recently. So thank you for tuning into this week preview. We will be back with another week preview over the weekend. Also, we're probably going to do some kind of sit-start Saturday thing this weekend because the schedule is going to be so heavy. So definitely pay attention to our Twitter and YouTube where we do the live streams or where we post them because we'll be around to help you set lines and things and maybe give you some pickup suggestions before the week preview goes up. Sometimes we do that for people. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening.